Watch what they do, not what they say.
President Trump and Joe Biden hit the trail. At the center of this campaign, coronavirus.
The story.
The battleground blitz as we enter the final stretch of the 2020 race.
From every angle.
If you were sitting here talking to Joe Biden and President Trump, what would you want to tell them right now?
On the ground.
The wind standing these flames are expected to last another 24 hours.
And in depth.
We now have 2 vaccine trials on hold. Should people be concerned?
NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
As we learn a bit more, the plot thickens. Let's show you what's happening now in North Carolina. That's moved to the too close to call category. Too close to call.
All right, and let's go to Arizona, which just unloaded a bunch of votes, and we are saying it's too early.
Let's take a look at what we're looking at Arizona, and the numbers coming in very quickly. And as you can see, this is why we have him leading. He's got a 9-point lead. Look, he's got a 200,000 vote advantage, and we expect there's 800,000 votes left. That's a lot. Whoop. Look at how quickly these numbers start to update themselves. The point is that he's got to make up 200,000. There's 800,000 left. You can do that math, but Trump's got to get he's got to win a big chunk of the remaining vote to pull this off, which is why we classify that as Biden leading. And just go back to Maricopa. It's a 9-point. It's a 9-point gap. That's not something you can make up. Hope in the rural counties.
What about in Tucson, my hometown? Did he run up the score? No, that's
80%. And let's see how Biden did compared to Clinton. Look at that. Right now he's running 9 points ahead of her. She won it because it's always a Democratic county. It usually is a Democratic leaning county. But look, if we were seeing this Latino vote helping Trump, it would show up in Pima County, and we're not seeing that there. And so this is a reminder that it doesn't, again, not all Latino votes are the same when you're trying to compare them, particularly if you're in the Southeast versus the Southwest. So look, Arizona, this is the first Sun Belt state that you sit there and you're like, okay, and there's not a lot of rural remaining vote that you sit there and say, okay, we're going to see the same thing that we've seen with Trump in Ohio and North Carolina, that as that rural vote comes in, it starts to load up. Let's take a look at North Carolina. Remember, I told you, I said, one of the things you're going to see, we're going to get these straggling rural counties that will add to his number, but that there was still some room to grow in the big blue counties. There's still a lot of vote in Wake County, 16% of the vote. This is that's a lot of voters that are left, and this has obviously been a huge Biden county. You look at Mecklenburg, not much left there, obviously, just 94% are in. Guilford, this is Greensboro, still a decent chunk of vote here. And then everywhere, Trump's strength is like a little bit everywhere. And that's the thing. I go back, I'll tell you, this rural African-American turnout is just and I just want to just show you here where Trump is overperforming Robeson County. This is where he is able, he's adding to his numbers. We don't see this in some of these places.
Is that African-American voters not turning out?
This is not turning out.
Or because the president has made an effort to attract African-American voters?
Look, we're not seeing enough evidence there. This to me looks more like not turning out.
Okay.
On that front than it does anything else. Because you look, it's basically Biden's number and Clinton's number. They're not that different, 95% in. So you've seen in other places where there's some huge Biden overperformance here. These border counties along South Carolina are going to be, if Biden comes up short, I would argue that's where he's going to find the votes that he should have gotten in order to get this, in order to make North Carolina happen.
Okay.
Yeah, Minnesota. Let me quickly ask you about Minnesota. Jason Miller came on and suggested that the Trump folks feel good about Minnesota.
Look, we'll see. I mean, we only have about a third of the vote in, and just so you see, this is election day vote. So it's, let's look at some of the big, look, if Biden's got a big lead right now because Hennepin County, that's Minneapolis, and we've got most of the vote in. So, yeah, as the rural counties come in, this state's likely to get closer. It was a 3-point race last time. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. I've always been a bit of a skeptic for the Trump campaign to get over the top in Minnesota. But again, it does, Minnesota's a state that is certainly trending long term towards the Republicans.
Yeah, and the Trump campaign certainly visited Minnesota many times and
That's
made
right.
an effort there. We've had two tales of that. Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota said the Democrats will hold. Jason Miller of the Trump campaign says
All in the same half hour.
There's an important Democratic Senate seat there.
yes, there is. So we'll check in, and there's a lot of Senate races. In fact, a hot one out in Montana. Andrew was just
Yes.
reminding me of. We'll check in on that one as well. Take a break right here. We continue with our Decision 2020 election night coverage right after this break.
You ready to go to work?
I'm so ready to go to work.
She's Joe Biden's choice to be next in line. But who is Kamala Harris? Join me, Joy Reid, as I explore her life's journey from Oakland to Washington on